All right, guys, welcome to the tournament play here, November tournament. This is day 11, and we are currently at a bit of a crossroads in terms of what to do next. So here's the situation. We are winning the game right now, and that's a good feeling. It's always a good feeling to be in the lead, but it's not a solid lead. It's not a comfortable lead. It looks like we're almost about 50-point lead here, and that lead has been broadening every day because we do have a 4-resource advantage. So just to catch you up, we have 4 territories that we've captured away from them. They have 2 that they've captured away from us. However, we did capture 2 double tiles, and we stripped away their food. So that has given us an early game advantage on being able to build infantry, because with this additional double wheat, which you can see we already had pretty good food, Doggo is the food master down here. We can build a lot of barracks, and that's why we are. So we lost a lot of infantry attacking and taking these territories. We are now back to our original amount of infantry, and we are now ahead of the enemy once again. So even though we lost more infantry than they during that attack, because of these barracks that we were able to get, we're now ahead of them again. So that's great news, but what does day 11 mean? Day 11 means in 2 more days, we are going to have artillery on the map. So it's coming up very soon. That is not good news for us, because one of the things we tried to do here is 4 factories over here. And because we are on land, we will have an advantage over anybody that tries to defend Russia. However, sabotage has ruined us. They must have invested a lot of money in sabotage, and we don't understand that, because they also have a lot of factories. They also have railways. They also have harbors. And, we've been playing without railways and harbors because we don't think they're going to come into the game heavy later in the game, and they're just not worth the resources. But the point being, they have outspent us in so many different areas. It's baffling. Now, one of the things might be that because they have so much oil, they could have been selling oil, but oil has not really been a heavy commodity until recently, and materials-wise, we're kind of balanced. So it's a bit baffling how they have so much money on the map, so many factories. Like, we went ahead and built 6. They, I think, last time we counted, had 13 maybe, just a lot more than us. So here's the deal. There's several factors happening here, but of these 4, we only have cannon building in 2 of them. So the only one that's actually up to date right now is this factory here, which has built halfway to a level 2, and we have a artillery coming out timed to hit about day 13. It's that early day 13 cannon. If you don't do this level 2 build on your factory, you will end up with that artillery on day 14. So this is great. This one territory. They knocked this territory down, and so Harkhold immediately started rebuilding, but they knocked it down good. So you can see this is almost a day out from even being able to start a cannon. Same thing with this territory back here. Got knocked down. Oh, he is not rebuilding. So this has been one of the stories of this game. Both of these factories got knocked down. I did not see this one getting knocked down. This factory got knocked down and was sort of just damaged for 6 hours maybe, and we were reaching out and saying, hey, Doggo, you need to repair that factory so we can start your cannon back. I think the cannon was already maybe started. I'm not sure. No, I think he had to repair the factory so he could build the cannon. So he did that. But now this is the first time I'm seeing this, that we have another damaged factory with no repair work happening. And this is one of the things that's been plaguing us. We can see Carried over here has one factory that's going to be crucial to defending South France here. This factory is going to build a cannon in 3 hours, 3 days and 12 hours. If you compare that to me, it's about the same. Okay, a little bit faster than me. Why is that important? Well, because this factory was always intended to be a last-minute factory. It was not part of the original plan. The factories we were going to build were 4 here and 1 here for southern France, and then a later factory here if we could. So what I'm describing to you here is we have one player who is developing a cannon at the utmost speed. It'll be here in 1 day, 17 minutes. Every other cannon on the field is going to get here late. And both of these are going to get here late because of delays. And you can see a delay is happening right now. There is a damaged factory on the field that is not being repaired. We're starting to realize that in regular play, that's okay, because eventually you'll get around to it, right? In tournament play against good players, and by the way, we are against good players, this is not okay. And I don't know how to fix it. We've talked about maybe sharing phone numbers, like so that we could actually literally text each other and just say, bro, we need to do this thing, because this has been happening throughout the game. By the way, I am guilty of this as well. I have sent stacks in, and then when I wake up in the morning, somebody's like, dude, pull your stacks back. They're about to die. And then I wake up and they're already dead. So I'm not even claiming that I'm immune to this, but we've got to figure out a solution to this. So what we have on the map right now is, out of the 5 cannon that we were hoping would develop around day 13, we have 1 that will develop on day 13. We have 1 that will develop on day 14 and a half. And I think we have a couple that will develop on day 14-ish. What is that, 316? Yeah, so these 2 are going to develop at about the same time. So this one's going to develop a little bit sooner. It puts us in a really tight spot, because we already knew that we were going to be the underdog when it came to mech, when it came to cannons, because they just have way more oil, and they've got a decent amount of steel as well, but way more oil. We've talked about that. We've got the double oil down here, 2 double oils down here, and we've got Russia with a double oil and a single oil, and then various other oils sprinkled around with their other territories in their coalition. So it's not looking good for us in that middle game that's about to happen. Middle game being described as when the factories hit and mech units start appearing. So what can we do? Well, we've got a bit of a Hail Mary going on here. So Raya Force conceived of this. Harkold here, who so far, Harkold and Raya Force have been the most responsive and attentive players in the game. And I mean that more than me even. So they have been on the ball, proving themselves to be true tournament champions, true alliance worthy champions. I'm hanging in there. I feel like I'm in there. I've been planning with them. And we just need to say that we've got to get Doggo and Carried to a point where we don't have this kind of thing going on. This factory sat damaged, I know, for at least 4 hours and maybe 6 hours, and just nothing was happening. Now, we're in different time zones, and there are, so I don't mean to say that anybody's negligent or doing a bad job, but I mean to say this is a riddle we need to solve. We've got to solve it. The enemy teams are not doing that. Every time we send some kind of little weird probing attack, they respond immediately. So they are alert. I don't know if that literally might mean that they have alerts on their phone. I don't know. But we've got to crack that nut. We've got to figure that solution out. So here's what we're doing, though. This is something that Raya was talking about early on. Raya and Harkold have gathered a force here. And they're not done gathering it, you can see, but a lot of them came from the east over here, and a lot of them came from the south, some of them from Italy. They are gathering a force here to think about a surprise attack, the kind of attack that you don't expect to happen, because at this point you think everyone's waiting for cannon, and basically everyone is waiting for cannon, right? Cannon should be showing up on the map in a couple days. However, there are going to be about 130, 140 troops gathered here out of the vision of our enemies. Our enemies do not know that they are there. As far as they're concerned, everything is here and here in Kyiv and Kharkov, as they should be normally, right? Where we have factories, where we're about to make a push. So the beauty of this is that it would be completely unexpected. So here's the plan. We staged this 140 over here to Berlin. I am currently doing the first stage of this, which is these 30 are embarking, leaving behind a skeleton crew here. However, I do have 10 troops coming from Raya Force to reinforce here, and I do have a level 3 fort building. So that's not a lot. It's really not against Riga that potentially has a lot of guys here, although I've seen them sending them down into Vilna here. Vilna is a little bit exposed, so they don't know which of these 4 they need to be defending, which is a beautiful thing. They have 4 territories that they need to spread their defense around in. Little do they know, though, that we're thinking about bringing this 140 over to Berlin. And I need to do the detailed measurements in a bit, but it's my belief that Berlin is outside even the far vision of this one. And I've threatened this before. I'm going to actually do it. I'm going to go get a ruler and literally, like, here's my method, my genius method. I'm going to measure from the center of this dot, the radius out to the edge of the far sight here. I'm going to take note of what that distance is, and I'm going to then make this the new center, and I'm going to measure out that radius and see. I believe Berlin is just out of the vision there, but I might be wrong. We have to test that. But the idea would be that 140 troops would stage here in Berlin. Now, here's the part that I love. I talked about maybe landing this 30 in Stockholm, because there are about 10 troops down here that can rush to defend this. And 10 is a beefy defense on a shoreline, right? Because the shoreline, you're at such a disadvantage attacking out of boats. But we have 140. So the point is, what we need to do is we need to be able to stop reinforcements from coming down from Sweden, from Stockholm. Stockholm had 30 up here. Stockholm is on the move. Stockholm is bringing down additional forces from down here. And this was a 1. I predicted that. I thought it was a 1. I think this other one is a 1 as well. When they stack like that, it's kind of weird. I think that's just 1. So what I take that 1 coming down to mean is that the backcountry of Sweden is empty. There's nobody back there. And why would there be, right? The ocean belongs to Great Britain. The East belongs to Russia. And there's no spies in there. And by the way, every time I've tried to run a single spy up into the North Sea here, they kill them. They actively leave, get into boats, and go attack them and kill them. So the idea being this, with 30 guys here, if there was only 10 guys here, or even 15, we would feel okay about attacking down into here, because that's 140 troops coming in, right? So we can defend that. But with 30 here and 10 in this region, that's 40. And 40 versus 150, we have seen as actually pretty good odds. When you're having to get out of boats, your hit points are down, your defense is down, your attack is down. You're just really, really weak when you're getting out of boats. And of course, that makes sense. I mean, you're not able to dig in. You're not able to lay down into foxholes or trenches because you're in the freaking water or the beach. So it makes good sense, but here's the plan. The plan is I'm going to march this 30, an intimidating 30. And yes, I'm leaving a skeleton crew behind, but I'm going to march this 30 straight on up and past Stockholm. The first thing he's going to do is gather troops in Stockholm. Be like, uh-oh. Now, this is a great player, by the way, over here. Let's look at this guy's statistics. It's ridiculous. This guy's level 19, right? Oh, you're just level 19. He's level 19. That is halfway to being level 19 again, right? So you stop at 19 at 500,000. But he has 50% more than that. So what would that be? He's basically level 30. We could call him level 30, I think. 29, something like that. Anyway, he's a very experienced player. He knows what he's doing. So he knows that he doesn't have to have much here in Stockholm to protect it. 30 versus 20 on a landing, that's nothing. And I think he knows that. But what's going to be beautiful is when these troops sail on past to the unprotected back countries. Oh, it's going to be fun. Oh, it's going to be beautiful. And I've thought about this. I've thought, what I could do with this 30 is just drop off 10 right here. Just 10. Just sitting there. And he's going to shadow me. He's got to shadow me with some number of troops. But if I drop off 10 here and continue north with 20, and then drop off 10 more here, and he's going to have to shadow those troops. But he's got to leave some behind for the 10. And then with the final 10, I'll come up here and I'll threaten Lulea. Right? A double steal with a railway. He cannot lose Lulea. He knows that. So the question is, can I lure as many of these 30? They're starting to show up because this troop came back in to get better vision here. Can I lure as many of these 30 away and north as possible? If I can lead them all the way up to here, we've done the calculations. We know it's going to take our troops, if they're in Berlin, it's going to take them about 12 hours to get to the shore and then fight this battle, which is going to be 10 troops, right? We talked about that. Oh, we have vision on them again. So you can see 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I think there's one or two here right now. Oh, they're getting in the water. What? Oh, they're coming to kill this one. I'll bet you they're coming to kill this one. Wait till they see this 30. Oh, I love it. So anyway, there's 9 down here, I guess, that can fight this battle. But we did decide 9 against 140 will probably win. And so it's 12 hours to get to here, 4.5 hours to get out of the boat. But if we get out of the boat and we still have, let's just say that 40 of them die against these 10 down here. If we get out of the boat with 100 infantry, then Sweden is ours. We take Sweden. And that's a beautiful thing. Now, we're going to have to hold over here with reduced troops. That's an unfortunate fact. There are fewer troops on the Eastern Front now, a lot fewer, because Harkhold has abandoned to move over to here. We still have all of Doggo's troops here, so that's good. And we'll probably have to have Doggo shuttle some over to here. We're going to fight a defensive war over here. We might lose the Russian territory that we captured, that we took. These troops might have to fall back into a defensive position. So we can talk about that too. We can see Lemberg is a great place to defend. That was an original defensive position that has a level 3 fort. So we can do that early on when they start coming down with cannon, but that means they're going to have to travel long distances on our territory, which to them is enemy territory, wasting days with those slow-ass artillery. Meanwhile, we fort up here. We strengthen this. And it sucks because we're losing factories over here, right? But again, we can make them pay for that. We can leave behind cannon fodder so that they have to attack in with artillery, and that will cause them to bomb down the forts that they eventually, the factories that they eventually will take over. But the point is, this game has a due date. It has a best if opened by date, which is day 21. It's over on day 21. So the beauty of this is we could lose these territories, let's say 4 of them, fort up here, and then fight sort of an artillery defensive battle over here where we're going to lose eventually. We know it. However, we have rampaged through Sweden, just ransacked all of Sweden. There are 12 countries here. It'll take us a while, but with 100 infantry, and there's hardly anybody back here. We know that there's 30 here, there's 10 down here. We know they've got defensive troops here and here, so probably maybe 10 and 10. So there's probably 50 on the island. But once we land, well, then it's over. It's really over. And Sweden has been sending troops to defend Russia forever. There are tons of troops over here from Sweden. We've been seeing stacks of 10 and 20 moving across the North Sea here into this region for a long time. So that's our Hail Mary, guys. If this doesn't work, if my 30 get up to about here, and I notice that I think he has to shadow me. I think he has to bring a lot of troops north. If he doesn't do that, for whatever reason, what's happening with this? They're continuing to splinter as we talk. I think they're moving them around and down as well. I think they might be sensing that this is a vulnerable position. I just want to remind you, earlier in the game, I did attack in with 20 here. Thinking that this was a vulnerable position, and he saw me doing it. He came and he defeated me. These are good players. These are active, alert, focused players that we're against here. And so we've got to bring that same level of focus and attention to this game, or we're not going to win. I'll say this. The reason we're winning right now is I think we just had a better map. We just did. And we executed a really good early game attack and got some early game stuff, and then we pushed it on even further. We had a good strategy and we had good early game execution, but we've got to follow that up with attention. We've got to remain attentive to this game, and this game is not over. I will say I do have a couple alternates that are bucking to get into the next game, and so we can talk about how that'll work. We can talk to players in the current game about, was this game too intensive? Did it require too much of your focus? Is that something you're not into? Is that something that's frustrating to you? Because we want our team to be happy. We want our team to be enjoying what they're doing. If it's not enjoyable to you, then maybe take a break for a month and come in on the third game or something. I don't know. But that ultimately is really something that we can do as a committee, as a team, and just decide who's moving into the next game. But for the rest of this game, we've got to be as alert as possible. It's coming down to the wire here. We're winning this game. We have a 50-point advantage, but we're moving into mech zone. By the way, we were able to knock one of their 4 forts in Russia, one of them out. So they have 3 cannon that are building up here. We have 1, and we have 2 technically, but we have 1 that's on schedule. So as of day 13, in a couple days, we will immediately be at a mech disadvantage. Now, again, for whatever reason, this factory down here was late to build, but now we do have a level 2 going down, as well as this artillery. Now, this artillery is 3 days and 12 hours away, but once this factory builds halfway, that will shorten significantly. So we can't really trust this number 3 days, 12 hours. It's going to be more like, if we wanted to take it from here, it's going to be more like, say, 1 day, 14 hours. I'm just making that up. But 1 day, maybe 1 day, 18 hours-ish, because that number will be cut in half at that point in time. So it's not a terrible, terrible situation right now. I'm trying to decide what to do in terms of newly spawned stuff, because I feel like France is going to be under attack heavily. All of Spain, the most powerful army on the board, belongs to Spain. We can go take a look at that right now if you want to. They have the most powerful army on the board. Oh, they also have the most dreaded on the board. Is that going to cycle over? I don't know. Doesn't really matter. Okay, but I've sent a significant amount down here just to kind of help with the defense down here. But I'm starting to think now, if we move forward with this attack on Sweden, one of the things that I want to do with this stack of 30, if they chase me up here, like I said, break into stacks of 10, that will put me in a position where it might be difficult to reinforce back over here at Königsberg. So I might start sending everything that develops here, that spawns here, north and east into Königsberg. So I've got to figure that out. That's something I've got to work on moving forward. But you get the general idea here. We do have a Hail Mary, a hidden attack. There's no way they can suspect this. And they are starting to break up what's going on here in Stockholm. We'll see what happens when they detect my 30. Well, they do detect my 30. What am I talking about? I'm an idiot. They can see it right here departing, and they don't know what it's doing. They probably think right now that the 30 is coming to attack down here or here. So remember, I attacked here once before. This is disembarking. Very interesting. So keeping my history in mind, I've thrown some random attacks over here into Sweden. So these guys are probably moving south, which is even better, because as I pass them and move north, that's going to freak Stockholm out. Now, I've sent spies of 1 and 2 up here into the deep North Sea here, and he goes and kills them. But he's not going to go and kill a 30 stack. What he's going to have to do is shadow me along the shore. So stay posted, guys. It's a very interesting game. I'm fascinated to see what's going to happen next. I appreciate y'all hanging in there with us. This is going to be our series about the universe as we traverse through our very first tournament. This is our first game of our first tournament. So thanks for being here with us. It's actually really exciting. We're learning as we go, and we're learning a lot. So we're glad you're here with us as well. I think you're going to learn a lot about tournament play as well if you stick with us. So thanks for being here. Adios, amigos.